On a frozen Boston night, a group of thieves were about to pull off a crime worth over $34 million in today's money. It would be called the crime of the century. In the next few minutes, these men will bypass 5 separate locked steel doors. They will bind and gag the 5 employees on duty. They will empty the safes and cash chests of the second-floor counting room without firing a single shot, without leaving a single fingerprint. They vanished into the Boston night, leaving behind a crime scene so clean it would haunt the FBI for years. No fingerprints, no clues, just an empty room where millions of dollars used to be. It was the perfect crime, or so it seemed. The FBI launched one of the biggest manhunts in its history. But for 6 long years, the gang remained ghosts, protected by their flawless plan. So what was the single fatal mistake that brought it all crashing down? It wasn't a slipped footprint or a forgotten tool. It was the one variable they never accounted for. The architect of this impossible crime wasn't some criminal mastermind. He was Anthony Pino, a small-time crook with an obsession that bordered on madness. Pino wasn't a tough guy. He was a planner, and his target was the one building in Boston nobody dared to touch, the Brinks Building on Prince Street. To the city, it was a fortress, a concrete box where all of New England's cash came to rest. But to Tony Pino, it wasn't a fortress. It was a challenge. And he had a secret weapon. He wasn't studying the building's alarms. He was studying its people. He learned its rhythm, its pulse. He knew the real security wasn't the steel and concrete. It was routine, and any routine can be broken. But a job this big couldn't be done alone. He needed a crew. His first recruit was the tough, connected career criminal, Joseph O'Keefe. Together, they assembled a team of 11 men, bound by one thing, the promise of an unimaginable score. What followed wasn't a plan. It was a 2-year war fought in the shadows. From a frozen rooftop perch, they watched every move. They didn't just learn the guards' schedules. They learned their habits, their distractions, their weaknesses. They were building a key, not of metal, but of information. But watching wasn't enough. They had to get inside. So they did the unthinkable. In a series of daring late-night entries, each one a gamble that could have ended the entire operation, they compromised the building from the inside out. They didn't pick the locks. They stole them. One by one, the cylinders were removed, copied by a trusted locksmith, and returned before the first employee arrived for the morning shift. Brinks was being robbed, and they didn't even know it yet. With a perfect set of keys, the real work began. In a rented warehouse, they drilled the plan relentlessly, again and again. Every step was choreographed to the second. Their goal? Under 30 minutes, in total silence. They were becoming a machine, oiled by greed and precision. The final touches were pure deception. Identical outfits to create confusion, rubber Halloween masks to create terror, a stolen truck waiting in the wings. After 2 years of plotting, the stage was set for the performance of a lifetime. January 17th, 1950, 6:55 p.m. The city was settling in for the night. But for Pino's team, the last 2 years of their lives came down to the next 30 minutes. Inside, 5 employees counted cash, completely unaware that they were about to become footnotes in the story of the crime of the century. The gang waited for the flaw they had discovered, a tiny gap, just minutes long, between the day and night alarm cycles. It was their only way in. The first door was picked. The next 4 opened with their copied keys. The door to the counting room swung open. 7 masked figures moved with chilling efficiency, It was over in seconds. No shouting, no chaos. Just the quiet, terrifying professionalism of men who had practiced this moment 100 times. The employees were bound and gagged before they could even process what was happening. Their target was never the main vault, sealed by its impenetrable time lock. Their entire focus was the counting room and the fortune in cash and checks waiting inside. Less than 15 minutes later, their bags were full. At 7:27 p.m., they were gone. 32 minutes after they arrived, they melted back into the Boston night, leaving behind 5 unharmed men and one of the biggest empty spaces in criminal history. The gang left a crime scene so perfect, it was like they were never there. It was a ghost crime. The ghost crime left the Boston police baffled, but it did something far more dangerous. It made J. Edgar Hoover furious. The robbery wasn't just a crime, it was a personal insult to the director of the FBI. And Hoover unleashed the full might of the Bureau to hunt the ghosts down. But the FBI wasn't just fighting the gang, they were fighting the clock. The statute of limitations was 6 years. 6 years to solve a perfect crime. If they failed, the ghosts would get away with it all. Forever. The countdown had begun. For years, the FBI found nothing. They chased down thousands of leads, interviewing every known criminal in the country. But the gang had simply evaporated. And what about the masterminds? They were hiding in plain sight, living their old lives, unable to spend the stolen money. The greatest cash haul in history sat rotting in their basements. The FBI was hunting them, but the real enemy was the one thing they thought they'd won: the money. It was a curse. And with the pressure mounting, the perfect team began to fracture. Greed turned to paranoia. Trust turned to suspicion. And for Joseph O'Keefe, it was about to turn deadly. Always the hothead, O'Keefe was arrested on an unrelated charge and demanded his share of the loot for legal fees. The gang sent him a fraction of what he asked for. To O'Keefe, it was a profound betrayal. But he wasn't just angry, he was reckless. From his prison cell, he began sending bitter, threatening letters to the gang. He made it clear, if he didn't get his full share, he would start talking. So the gang decided to silence him. They hired a notorious hitman, Elmer Burke, who ambushed O'Keefe with a machine gun. Miraculously, he survived. But the honor among thieves was dead. He was scared, broke, and now he wanted revenge. The statute of limitations was about to expire. The FBI was desperate. The gang was just days away from walking free. And then, the FBI got the one call they had been waiting 6 years for. From his prison cell, Joseph O'Keefe was ready to talk. He gave them everything: the names, the plan, the whole incredible story. On January 12, 1956, with just 5 days to spare, the FBI, acting on O'Keefe's confession, captured 6 members of the gang, including the mastermind, Tony Pino. The last 2 were hunted down as fugitives by May. With 2 of the original 11 now dead from natural causes, the remaining 8 survivors stood trial. On October 9, 1956, all 8 were found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Specs O'Keefe, the informant, received just 4 years. The ghosts of the Brinks robbery finally had faces. But what does a real ghost mission look like in the 21st century? Find out how a team of elite U.S. Navy SEALs flew invisible helicopters deep into Pakistan to neutralize Osama bin Laden and got out without the Pakistani government ever knowing they were there. By clicking the video right here on your screen. If you're curious about how these impossible stories really happened, hit that subscribe button so you're here for the next one. Thanks for watching.